If I told you that we could significantly extend your lifespan with just a few simple tricks, would you believe me? Probably not, but it's really not that far fetched. We already know simple, proven ways that have been shown to not only extend lifespan, but also health span. It is how many years we're active, healthy, and actually able to enjoy life. When I began working in the emergency department, I noticed something interesting. There was a subset of patients, usually in their 80s or even 90s, and they were significantly healthier than everyone else. They also looked significantly younger. When I started seeing these patients, I would ask them how it was possible or what the secret to life was. I would get a lot of different answers, and honestly, most of them were pretty comical. One patient told me that they would take a shot of vodka every day. Another patient told me that their significant other just wouldn't let them get sick, so they're never ill. But overall, I think the common theme was that the patients felt lucky, or they thought maybe they were born that way, or it was their genes. But can it really be this simple? Is it really just the luck of the draw, or the pull of a slot machine that determines how long we live? Luckily for us, it isn't. We already know the proven ways to extend their lifespan, it's just that most people refuse to listen to it. This concept isn't actually anything new. It's the foundation for the medical field called longevity. Some time ago, people began to notice that there was a subset of the population or certain areas of the world where the people lived significantly longer. Not only were they living significantly longer, they were significantly healthier. Sometimes they had average lifespans into the 90s or even low 100s, and they were termed centenarians. The areas of the world where they're highly concentrated were termed blue zones. Some examples of these are Sardinia, Italy, Okinawa, Japan, which actually has the highest concentration of female centenarians in the world, in Loma Linda, California. When I talk about lifespan, I'm not just referring to the amount of years that we're alive. I'm referring to the amount of years that we're healthy, active, and able to enjoy life. We in modern medicine have become great at extending the amount of years we're alive. We can take patients with chronic illness such as COPD, heart failure, and renal disease and make sure that they don't die. But oftentimes, these patients are in and out of the hospital, they're drowning in debt, and their quality of life is quite low. This video isn't about those patients. This video is about the patients that I see, such as the 95-year-old who still cycles 15 miles a day, or the 87-year-old who still goes to the pool every day to swim laps, or the 80-year-old when I walk in the room and they look like they're in 60s. I want to know how, and that's what this video is about. This has made the news quite often, and it makes a good talking point. It makes a good headline. And I didn't really raise a brow until I started working in the ER and seeing it firsthand. It's actually pretty shocking. I'm sure you've all seen news articles about it or Facebook posts. It makes really good headlines and gets a lot of clicks. But honestly, there's a lot of reality to it. And I really began to notice this working in the ER. A lot of commonalities exist among these patients, and one that I really noticed was their activity levels. All of these patients remain significantly active. They still get out of the house, they still exercise, they go on walks, runs, bike rides, they're still swimming. Oftentimes, we go to work and we sit at a desk. We come home and we feel tired and we're stressed, so we'll lay on the couch, we'll watch Netflix, maybe scroll on our phones. And this sedimentary lifestyle is significantly detrimental to our health. It severely reduces the amount of healthy years we have in our life. Shockingly, according to the CDC, only about 24% of adults aged 18 years or older get significant or sufficient amounts of anaerobic and strength training exercise. This is shocking because studies have shown that only about an hour and a half of exercise each week significantly reduces your chance of mortality or death by about 14%. It also significantly reduces the chance of cardiovascular disease or heart disease by about 30%. So, just basic exercise, just getting out of the house, going on a walk, can significantly extend the amount of life we have or the amount of healthy years we have to enjoy life. I could probably end the video right here with just that, just saying, that's it. You just need to get out and exercise. And honestly, I would probably be right. But unfortunately, we've been telling people this for many years, and it really hasn't changed all that much. Well, it's obvious that exercise is good for us. I don't think that people truly understand how good it is for us. There's a direct correlation between our VO2 max and longevity, or how long we live. VO2 max is essentially how efficient our body is at utilizing the oxygen that we breathe in. So, in basic terms, a higher VO2 max and a lower chance of dying. So, how do we increase our VO2 max? It's increased through anaerobic exercises such as running, cycling, or swimming, but also through strength training with increased muscle efficiency. Consistent exercise can be the difference between decades of added life. After about the age of 30 or 40, Our body starts to break down our muscle mass. And this happens unless we do something about it. This is why strength training is so important. I see it pretty often in the emergency department. People start to age, and their lack of exercise catches up to them. They start to lose their muscle mass, and this results in instability. And then the instability results in falls. Falls result in fractures or significant injuries. And then they have to become even more sedimentary than they were prior. This is how they quickly lose their independence, and they'll end up in nursing homes, and their health quickly declines. So the only way to truly combat this is consistent strength training exercises. The second thing I began to notice was caloric intake. On average, it seemed like these patients were eating significantly less. Not were they necessarily eating healthier, they were just taking in significant less amount of calories than the chronically ill. This specifically referred to as caloric restriction. As complex as our bodies are, we only need a certain amount of nutrients to survive. Fortunately, most of us live in a world where food is of abundance. We could run to the bakery and get a donut if we want to. But unfortunately, this leads us to overindulge and take in significantly more calories than we actually need to survive. One common theme that's seen throughout all the blue zones of the world is reduced caloric intake. For example, in Okinawa, Japan, they only eat around 18 to 1900 calories a day. They actually have a saying that they should only eat till they're 80% full, and this helps them from overindulgence or over caloric intake. Foods in general, specifically processed foods, can cause significant stress on the body and cause damage to both our cells and our DNA. When our body uses our calories to make energy, it makes a natural byproduct called a reactive oxygen species. In moderation, this is fine. Our body is able to remove it without any difficulty. But when we have an excessive caloric intake, we don't give our body the opportunity to fully remove all of them. And this causes damage to our cells as well as our DNA. This damaged DNA can then replicate and is the basis for how cancers are formed. Not only do cancers form from damaged DNA, they require a nutrient rich environment. So, all these excessive calories that we're taking in, all these extra nutrients, make the perfect storm for cancers to fully thrive and take over our bodies. While cancer is very complicated, and this might only explain a very small portion of it, it could be the reason why these patients live to be so much longer and are generally much healthier than the patients who take in a lot more food or a lot more calories. It's obvious that our physical health plays a huge role in how long we live, but our social health might be just as important. One consistent thing that I see among the healthy elderly patients in the ER is that they all still have a strong social life. They still leave the house, they have friend groups, they even go on vacations. When I ask them about their lives, they tell me what they're most excited to do next. This obviously becomes difficult as we age, our kids grow up, our family grows up, we lose our loved ones or our friends to illness. It's actually really important. Studies have shown that chronic loneliness can increase our chance of early death up to 30%. This is as high as known risk factors such as cardiovascular disease. So while physical health is the mainstay of longevity, social health is likely just as important. After seeing an endless amount of elderly patients in the ER, I noticed that all of them that age well do a variation of the same few things. They all exercise every day and they're active. They all strength train, so they increase muscle mass and reduce their chance of falls and injuries and maintain their independence. They eat until they're not hungry, but not necessarily until they're full. They reduce the amount of calories they intake compared to the chronically ill patients. So, doing those three basic things, exercising, eating less calories, and having a strong social life, can significantly prolong our health span. The saddest thing I see in the ER isn't necessarily death, it's the patients who have long outlived their independence.